What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Got a lot of basketball to cover today, including a mock draft for the NBA draft is tonight. So let's get right to it. We got a bunch of trades that happen. New Orleans Pelicans make a move. They make a trade with the Washington Wizards. Pelicans are getting Jordan Poole as well as Sadiq Bey from Washington. They also get the 40th pick in tonight's draft. They send CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk to the Washington Wizards. This is a pretty even trade, kind of like who cares trade. Pelicans are clearly in some retooling mode. Obviously, you just brought in the new president of basketball operations in Joe Dumars, and they're going to be probably selling off some pieces. The Wizards are just stuck in basketball hell. They're maybe the worst franchise in basketball right now. They're garbage. They're the worst team in the East, second worst in all basketball last year. Both were picking very high in the draft, obviously. Jordan Poole had a good season last year. He was a guy in Golden State, had a breakout year, gets that huge contract. A year later, had the fight with Draymond, kind of takes a step back. Warriors took a step back as a team, gets traded to Washington, and a couple of rough years. But last year played better. 68 games, averaged 20 points a game. That was his most in a couple of years, his most since he got there. Shot 43% from the field, 37% from three. Over a steal of games. So he had a much better season. His best since at least that one big year in Golden State. Sadiq Bey did not play last year. He had torn ACL, so didn't play the whole season last year. However, he was the guy who for his career has averaged 14 points a game, is a solid role piece to have. Last time we saw him, still only 26 years old. The other way, Washington gets CJ McCollum. McCollum has had a great career, had a lot of great years in Portland alongside Damian Lillard. Was very underrated because of how good Damian Lillard was. He's overall still a very good player, but he is going to be 34 next year. He's very injury prone. He has not played a full season since 2018 in Portland. He has not played besides 2023. 2 years ago when he played 75 games, he's played 66 games or less in every year since 2021. So he's never really on the court. Last year only 56 games, but did average 21 points. Last year he shot 37% from three and 44% from the field. So when healthy, is still a very good player. Is still a really good scorer and a good shooter. He's a good piece to have, but is never really healthy. He's not healthy all the time. He's playing a ton of defense. Going to be 34 years old. So he goes the other way. And then Kelly Olynyk, he's a solid stretch five to have on your bench. He's another guy who struggles with health. Last year only played 24 games when he did. Averaged 7 points a game. Shot 50% from the field, 44 from three. When healthy is probably the best backup stretch five in the league. Like obviously not the best stretch five in the league. You look at Miles Turner and Karl-Anthony Towns maybe. He's some regular season for Karl-Anthony Towns, but Olynyk is a backup stretch five, can play a role on the team. He has for a long time. Coming in like Gonzaga, he's been on a bunch of different teams. Sort of in Boston, he's bounced around from Detroit and Houston and a lot of different teams. He was in Toronto the last couple of years. And he is now headed to the Washington Wizards along with McCollum. So Pelicans get Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th pick in this year's draft. And then Washington gets McCollum and Olynyk. I think it makes a little more sense for New Orleans. You get Poole, who I think looks like if he could be a good player, is still young. Bay's still young, though he didn't play last year. You get an extra draft pick, a second round pick tonight. He's an older player in McCollum to get two older players. So I would probably slightly rather the Pelican side because of the situation that they're in, but it's kind of like a who cares trade. And there was a three-team trade involving the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics, and the Brooklyn Nets. The Hawks get Kristaps Porzingis from the Boston Celtics along with a second-round pick. The Nets get Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick. And tonight's draft from Atlanta. And the Celtics get Jordan Niang in a second. So Atlanta trades Terrence Mann in the first for Porzingis in the second. Brooklyn trades. They just kind of get Mann in that first kind of for free. And then Boston gets Jordan Niang in the second for Kristaps Porzingis in a second round pick. For Boston, it was clearly a salary dump. This gets him under the second apron. Obviously, he made the Holiday trade. Now he make the Porzingis trade. He's due $30.6 million this year. and then he comes up the books after the season. They get back a 3-point shooter with the bench in Georges Niang. They get back a late round pick. They picked up now 3 second rounders in the last 48 hours. Atlanta, you're going to lose Clint Capella. He replaces them, assuming they fall out of the race. He could be a guy that you either flip now or maybe the trade deadline for some draft picks. There's a late rounder in for Brooklyn. You pick up another first round pick. You got 4 or 5 first rounders tonight. You already have the 8th pick. Could you move up maybe into the top 5? Maybe if you like Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe, you can get them high in the first round. And man, this best is an average bench player. Doesn't really do a whole lot for you, but they have so much cap space that they can take on a guy like that. And again, the salary dump for Boston, for Atlanta. I guess they're let's get something for Niang, and you get a potential trade chip in Porzingis. For Brooklyn, and it's just continuing to add to their trove of draft picks. I mean, Porzingis, when he's healthy, is still a great player. Last year only played 42 games. They had a lot of injuries, had that weird illness, didn't really factor into anything in the playoffs. But he averaged 19 points a game and 6 boards, shot 48% from the field, 4% from 3. So when healthy, he's still a great player. But obviously, he's just never on the court. Terrence Mann last year averaged 7 points a game, shot 30% from 3. He's a solid 3. You got to have on your bench at best. Niang's the guy who can shoot the 3. He averaged 9, almost 10 points a game last year in Atlanta. So that's for his career. Let's look at his season stats. Last year didn't do a whole lot. He only those were season stats between Cleveland and Atlanta. He was in the DeAndre Hunter trade. He averaged 9, almost 10 points a game. He shot 37% from 3. Played really well down the stretch for Atlanta. He averaged 12 points a game, which is by far a career high. It was only in 28 games. Shot 41% from 3. So he overall had a good year last year. He's gonna be 32 next year, and he goes to the Boston Celtics as a 3-point shooter that comes off the bench. A couple of signings. Kyrie Irving opted out of his $43 million player option and re-signed with the Dallas Mavericks for 3 years and $119 million. The player option for the third year. So actually, I think a tiny pay cut overall, much for what it is each year, but the AAV is just under $40 million. It's a player option for that third year. So next season's gonna miss probably about half the year, maybe even a little more. And then following year he'll be healthy, and then you get a full year from fully healthy, and then he can decide whether he wants to opt in or out. Kyrie getting a little bit older, also the injuries, but he's matured. Seems like the last couple of years since he got to Dallas. Last year, averaged 24 points a game, shot 47% from the field, 4% from 3, over a steal a game. So he, when healthy, is sort of elite level player. Was a big part of the final seed for Dallas season before last season, obviously, and not this past year, obviously, but the year before. So, but he goes back to Dallas, and then Houston declines the $44.9 million team option on Fred VanVleet once again, like Kyrie, just to re-sign him. They gave him a 2-year, $50 million deal. So again, this is actually technically a major pay cut because VanVleet was doing almost $45 million this year, and now they're getting for 25 per with the extra year there. He's a very good player, VanVleet. Last year, only played 6 a game, had a couple of injuries, but averaged 14 points a game, 5 assists, shot 37 from the 34 from 3. So it wasn't great, but steal and a half plus a game. He's always been the guy who's a solid scorer from shoot the 3. He obviously was a big part of a championship team with Toronto in 2019. He had that big game 6 with what he had, like 6 threes in that game. As the 6th man, I think as a rookie. He's a very good perimeter defender. He's a very good player. And the Rockets, so though he didn't have a great year last year, they bring him back. You wonder could still mean they're going to extend Kevin Durant because he's due $54 million this year. You may want to extend him, and now this year you save technically $20 million on VanVleet because he was going to be doing almost 45 on his option. Now you're paying him around 25, so that is definitely helpful. VanVleet re-signed to Houston after his team options declined 2 years and $50 million. All right, so it's the NBA mock draft. The NBA draft is tonight. I'm going to do the full lottery. Let's get into it. First overall pick, Dallas Mavericks. I haven't taken Cooper Flag. This is pretty obvious. Forward out of Duke. He had one of the best freshman years ever. This guy, I think, has superstar written all over him. He had reason that he was, how he was even coming out of high school. The capture the flag thing, kind of tank Cooper flag kind of thing was popular throughout the year. Great scorer, can really shoot the three. He's a really good defender. This guy has all the tools to be an excellent basketball player. He's a good athlete. Flag to Dallas is they kind of get thrown in a lifeline after the Luka trade. They're going to take him first overall. I don't know who else will be. Spurs at 2. I haven't taken Dylan Harper. To me, it's pretty clear unless they're trading the pick or moving down, which I don't think they're going to do. I think Dylan Harper is pretty clearly the second best player in this class. Really good combo guard out of Rutgers, and he's I think going to be a great player, a really skilled scorer. I think will be an elite player for a long time. Yes, they already have two really good young guards in De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, but to me, Harper is pretty clearly a better player than like the rest of the field. As the second best player in this class, I don't think you can pass him up unless you're trading the pick for, Giannis or something like that, or maybe I don't know, maybe a Jaylen Brown. Though he's getting calls about him, or maybe you're moving back to you think, all right, we'll pick up some extra picks, maybe a player you're still getting, VJ Edgecombe or Con Newport or something. But Dylan Harper second overall to the Spurs. Third overall is Ace Bailey. I have him going to Philly. Been a lot of speculation going around this kid. Where is he going? I heard, he doesn't want to play for Utah or Charlotte. I heard, he's canceled visits and he's kind of trying to pick where he goes. I do believe he's the third best player in this class. 6'10 forward. Also out of Rutgers. And him and Harper went to Rutgers together last year. And somehow they only think they made the tournament, which is kind of crazy. But I think this guy is really good. He's very, very thin, so I'm not sure how he'll hold up down low in the post defensively. But this is a really dangerous offensive player at that size. You're Philadelphia. You're trying to, capitalize on this. I know there's rumors they might trade 3 and pull George somewhere else, maybe to Atlanta. But assuming they're running back those 3 with Embiid, George, and Maxey, you think the other pieces there, you gotta try and see if you can squeeze something out of this group. And also this gives you a young building block after guys like Paul George or Joel Embiid. You move on from those guys. You still have Ace Bailey, obviously Tyrese Maxey still really young, got a 5-year deal last year. So Bailey to the Sixers. Fourth overall, the Charlotte Hornets. I am taking VJ Edgecombe. I mean, the Hornets are really bad. LaMelo Ball's a great player, but never on the court. Brandon Miller's, I think, a very good player, still really young. He's also never really on the court either. He's still kind of developing. Just take best player available to me is VJ Edgecombe, a shooting guard out of Baylor. I think he'll be a really good player. He goes to the Hornets. Fifth overall is the Utah Jazz. So the Jazz, they drafted a lot of guys the last bunch of years. They've traded for a bunch. Guys get back for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And it hasn't really come together. To me, this team kind of needs a shakeup in the offseason when it comes to their core. Trey Johnson is a good player who I think they're going to take. I haven't taken him. Shooting guard out of Texas. Should be a very good player. I do think they're going to have to move a couple of guys. At least one of Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton, I think, is going to have to get moved. I think one of their bigs, whether it be Laurie Marker, they can find a way to move that deal. That contract hasn't worked out after a year. Or even if it's Walker Kessler or somebody else. But I have Trey Johnson going to the Utah Jazz. Sixth overall, I have it's Washington Wizards. I haven't taken Con Newport. This team they have a bunch of old guys. I don't know what they're doing. They're reject central over there with Chris Middleton up there into his $30 million option. Marcus Smart's still there. You bring in CJ McCollum. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do over there. I mean, you drafted Alex Sarr last year, second overall pick. Obviously, still waiting on him. I'm not really sure what they're doing over there, but Con Newport, the guy, nothing else will shoot the lights out in the NBA. I have him going six to the Wizards. At 7, New Orleans Pelicans. I haven't taken Carmon Maloch, center out of Duke. This guy gives me some Rudy Gobert vibes. Not sure if he's as good as Gobert. Gobert's a 4-time defensive player of the year, but just an excellent rim protector. I think he'll be an elite rim protector at the next level. Good lob threat. He was a decent part of Duke's team this past year. I have him going to the New Orleans Pelicans. They really need a big man. You lost Valanciunas last year. You kind of relying on Yves Missy a lot last year. Get yourself a legit big in Kaman Maloch, which could help you. Maybe pick and roll with Jordan Poole now. You still have some other guys there. Deontay Murray, assuming he plays at least the most of the year next year, coming off the injury. and other guys you have over there. Get yourself something to build around there because this roster over the next year or two is probably going to look a lot different. Ninth overall is the Toronto Raptors. I haven't taken Noah Asengwe, a forward out of France. Not a lot of people know a lot about him, but he should be a very good player. He's got good size. Toronto's got a lot of young players you've gotten in trades over the last few years for guys like Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby. And you drafted a bunch of guys. I heard they're trying to make a move for an ultra level player. Maybe I could see them trading this pick, but if they keep it, I think it's Noah Asengwe out of France. 10th overall is the Suns pick. The Suns just got the pick from the Rockets and Kevin Durant trade. I've taken Garrett Queen, center out of Maryland. I think this kid's going to be really good. We saw him in the tournament, hit that game-winning shot. Was in the Sweet 16 in the second round. This kid's really good. Definitely going to be a lottery pick tonight. Very good big man. I think he'll be really good in the NBA. Suns need something over there. Devin Booker probably gets traded at least by the end of next year. I'm not even sure they're going to keep Jalen Green long term. There's really nothing there. They got to build something to build around. They haven't had a big man in a long time. They tried it with DeAndre, and you whiffed on him a few years ago. And the juice of Nurkic experiment obviously failed. So get yourself a legit big in Derek Queen. 11 overall is the Portland Trailblazers. I've been taking Igor Demin out of BYU, a 6'9" shooting guard. He's got really good size. This tall, lanky kid out of BYU. Good scorer. I think he'll defend a good amount in the NBA. Igor Demin to the Portland Trailblazers. So another team's probably going to have to make a move. I get they have a lot of guards there. Trade for Drew Holiday. You have Shavon Sharp. You have Scoop Henderson. And now you get yourself a legit two-guard in Igor Demin. 12 overall is the Bulls. I've been taking Kasparas Chekasionis out of Illinois. I think will be a very good combo guard in the NBA. I think will play a hell of a lot of defense. And also, this will probably be your point guard of the future. I don't expect you to get anything out of Alonzo Ball. His knees are just shot. You have some young pieces I like there, like Josh Giddey. Patrick Williams is pretty good. Kobe White, who is a point guard. But there's no reason they can't run Konis and Kobe White out there with Josh Giddey at the 3, Patrick Williams at the 4. No reason that can't be their future. So I have him going to the Bulls. 13th overall is the Atlanta Hawks. I've been taking Carter Bryant forward out of Arizona. Point guard appears to be Trae Young still. So I'm not going through a point guard. A couple of young players that you have there. You drafted Zachary Reese-Shea first overall last year. So kind of see what he's going to become. Obviously make the Porzingis trade. He's an older guy. He won't be on the team for more than a year. That's your replacement for now for Capella. Get yourself a legit forward. I don't really have a legit wing over there after trading DeAndre Hunter up the deadline last year, as well as Bojan Bogdanovic going at Carter Bryant out of Arizona. And 14th overall for Spurs again. I've been taking Liam McNeil out of UConn. You could argue that this is a bit of a reach, but I don't think it's that much of a reach. He'll probably be like a mid to late first rounder. Could be at the very end of a lottery. But to me, the Spurs have a lot of young players over there. You have such a really good young core. McNeil is a guy who's really raw. I think has all the tools to be a really good NBA player. I think he will be, but is really raw and needs time. Honestly, probably should go back to UConn for another year. He spent another year under Dan Hurley. I think he would have been golden next year. But McNeely, he goes to the Spurs, not a lot of pressure with how many young pieces they have there. He can kind of just go, and be just a bench piece, play 10, 12 minutes a game, and really, kind of focus on just strictly developing his skills, not really, truly having to come in the game, in a playoff clinching game and play big minutes necessarily. So McNeely to the Spurs at 14th overall. That's my NBA mock draft. Enjoy the draft tonight. That is all I got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.